Hello everybody, and hello YouTube. I bet I know why I wasn't getting any NPC summon signs. I bet they are affected by Stoneplate. Just silly, but okay. What am I working with? I was playing my Champion's Covenant character today, so I have to reacquaint myself to what I've got. Maybe... Oh, wow. Switch for that one, I guess. It'll be my Alpha Strike. Wonder... 24. I wonder if this would be useful. So this is just for quantity and this is for damage, and then this might be to stop someone. Alright, so we opened up Bright Cove Seldora. We ran through Doors of Pharos. I need to go run somewhere in No Man's Wharf to pick up a fragrant branch of yore. So let's do that. Completely unnecessary backstab. Hey, infantry axe. I don't want to get too far because of the darkness dwellers. Would you stop? Damn it. Shows me. I actually really don't like the No Man's Wharf. Also, I'm reminded I was actually watching television. I was watching a really great show called Lookout on the Drama Fever app. But to do that, I've got to lift the volume. Great. No, stop it, lock on. Jeez. So, if anybody has any questions of what we've been talking about while I get some backtracking done, or getting killed again. Stop it. Okay, it should be over here. Or maybe it's the other one. No, Darkness Claw, go away! Nobody likes you. Go away. You're mean. I don't like it. Lock on, please. Really? I don't think I'll ever stop complaining about lock-on. I don't know what makes it so different in DS2 than, like, Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 1 had some annoying lock-on issues too, but... Rude. So rude. Pick this up. Well, okay. Net gain of 6, I guess. Time to go back. Actually, since we didn't really explore okay, so that buys time. Sort of like force, actually. So this is your clue. Like, they do these little environmental details to kind of link things together. And these three are more in the Lost Bastille than they are here. Like, these are the only three. It's to add a bit of coherence to the level design. Wow. yo ho, an undead life for me. It's probably really nothing here worth dealing with. But it's, reset everything to pre-boss levels. Can probably rerun that. Okay. Fragrant Rancher, you're acquired. Let's go. Where to go, where to go? I've already killed this whole line for the most part. Let's go check the map, see how that's going. It probably hasn't really updated yet. I haven't gone that far. Okay. Need 1 point of strength and four levels of dex. Yeah, because the only major boss that we've killed has been the Pursuer. What I really want to do is get down there, but I don't think I can do it without the cat ring. Let's go boss mode. We'll try that if we need it for the ruined Sentinels. Ruined Sentinels gave me an issue. Mostly, pure magic is very good against single targets, but once you start having mob bosses, it gets a little hairier. Oh, you know what I need to do? Go grab the chloranthy ring. We'll give this a try. I might need the chloranthy ring for the faster casting. I did it today on my my Champions Covenant character, and like totally forgot I didn't do it here. I hear the sign pop. Where? Interessante. Striker magnet. Where is the sign? I hear it. I can't see it though. Aha, that's what I'm hearing. I'll try this. Pilgrim Belliclaire. Oh, I remember her. I want to get that thing she's got on her head. So I guess that that settles that. NPCs are affected by Stoneplate. Hi, Pilgrim. Let's go. Heavy great. Alright. I guess he doesn't care about chocolate. That sucked. Again, I'm not used to using NPCs. They get in the way a lot of the time. Hey Andrem, how's it going? How are you doing? It is the longest day of the year. Sweet, sweet. Yeah. I don't really like NPCs. Not the biggest fan of using them. NPCs aren't player characters. Especially since the one real thing about NPCs is they use a lock-on system. So the lock-on system being bad in this game gets a little hairy. That's actually why probably the NPCs turn around in Dark Souls 3 a lot as one of the first things to do, because they took their lock-on off of you once they realized that you stopped moving. I feel like I shouldn't be getting hit by that. for heaven's sake. Yeah, that was bad. As soon as I dropped thrift stores can be interesting. Like, well, they could be fun. I know some people have, like, found nutty old gaming stuff at thrift stores. Ruined Sentinel should give me, what, 30k? Or am I just misremembering? Because I killed these guys on my Champion's Covenant and they gave me 30k. Made me waste a cast, you jerk. What are you doing falling off the ledge, dude? I'm not falling for that trick. Dang it! I was trying to fall off before he hit me, and he still hit me on the way down. I don't think Shockwave is going to deal with it, so I'm going to get another damage spell anyway. I think the biggest thrift store I've been in has been Savers. And Savers is huge. And oddly well organized. Like, I feel like thrift stores should be not that well organized. Somehow. Like, I don't know. There's been a bunch of internet thrift stores, too. Although they go by the fancier term, consignment shops. But, I guess being unorganized doesn't bode well for internet thrift stores. I'll start there and kill. What's their face? Give me that. Time to heal. Oh, I deserve that. Would you die, please? Thank you. Alright, let's go. Oh. It's alright. I just have to keep them both in my sight and not dodge terribly like that. Dang it. Yeah, that's it. Having some really stupid dodges. Although I think dodging backward is probably wrong for them anyway. I killed him on my Champion's Covenant character this morning. Just to, like, get a bit more practice in. And it's so much easier for me in melee. Yeah, like, stamina management is key. Which is why I keep thinking I might go grab the Chloranthy ring. I didn't think I would need it, but it seems like it would be useful here. I had to grab it on my Champion's Covenant character, but I suspected that was just because Champion's Covenant. But it might be needed here. Yeah, that's... Hey! Eagle Border, what's up? How's it going? Nope, don't fall, thank you. thanks for the host. Yeah, like, I don't mind the Ruined Sentinels. It's just, doing magic like this is not actually my forte. I'm a melee character. I mean, I'm a melee player a lot of the time. Okay, bye. Alright, he's out. Yeah, every time I dodge out, I'll get caught. That certainly wasn't. Heal, dang it. That sucked. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, maybe not. Stop putting up your shields, jerk. Yeah. Dodging out is not the way to go, but the spin to win. You have to dodge in. It's to talk a little bit about Seath. It seems like it's always been written that he would end up betraying Gwyn at some point. Seath is like the poster child for Moonlight, and Gwyn is the poster child for the Sun. And you would expect that they would end up being on completely opposite ends. Sorry when I'm autopilot. Ow! Ow! That hurt, jerks! Now, how are they connected? And it's also kind of interesting how, or fascinating, it's probably a better word. Yeah, that's right. I'm in the boss zone. I'm safe. Get out of here. Yeah, that's right. You walk away. Because the moon kind of shines a light on things, even at night. And besides the fact that it's a FromSoft trope, Moonlight shows up in pretty much all of their games. But for a lot of cultures, Moonlight in and of itself is is kind of an illusion, or it makes these like dreamlike states. So how is sorcery and Seath connected to some of those symbols that they've always been playing with in regards to the moon? Side note, even the Adventures of Cooking and Cream have both crowns and moonlight, so it's not just a Kingsfield thing. So maybe moonlight suggests the fact that he's a false dragon. Why don't both things get hit by that? I feel like I'm dodging too early on some of these. How the heck? That rock still had collision? Huh. I don't know. Has anyone else have any thoughts? I think that's one of those things everybody who's like a FromSoft fan is going to be navel-gazing about for a while. At least in regards to souls. Hey, Aegon. It's nice to see you. Hopefully, editing LTL 15 is, still fun. We've been half talking about Moonlight and its connection to Seath and stuff like that. Oh, that was early. Yeah, I knew that was early. Ah, thought I had that third dodge in there. I would like it if one of these guys threw their shield already. Eek. Well, let's see how far we get. Put his shield up. Oh gosh, I was reading a tweet from my cousin, and she posted a article from Time, I think it was, or The Economist, how for the reason why people do not like the sound of their own voice. And I'm like, yeah, this is really true. I have to suck that up when I'm like timestamping YouTube, because like I actually hate the sound of my own voice, but I have to listen to what's being talked about so I can timestamp it right. So I don't know. If people want to listen to my voice and my crazy nutty commentary, that's fine. I'll keep making content for them. I'll just suck up the fact that I don't like the sound of my own voice. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's like scientifically proven about why people do not like the sound of their own voice. I will find that tweet and like throw it to your soul's Twitter. So, something I mentioned the other night, and it's kind of confirmed here. The Ruined Sentinel has no corporeal form. It is only an empty soul that haunts the armor. Use the special soul of the Ruined Sentinel to acquire numerous souls or to create something of great worth. So the Ruined Sentinels that we know from DS2 are Golems, and it goes right back into the theme of imitations. DS2 has a fixation on things imitating life, and that imitation of life is like kind of fundamental to DS2. So it's not retconned that you meet the wrecked Ruined Sentinels in the Ring City. It's just we've never met them. We met a facsimile or a simulacra of the Ruined Sentinels, and it's not a new thing. Like I mentioned with the Cyan armor, Drain Lake has a fascination with recreating stuff all the time, especially if they were halfway decent. So that's a major theme that keeps popping up, at least in the early game of DS2, and that is things imitating other things, especially imitations of life. Cyanites. Those guys are cool, but really easy to backstab. Well, if you had Lucatiel Golems, it would be an Armored Core game. It would just be an Armored Core game. Alright, that's the way out. Just want to make sure I had everything. Oh, right, and the target shield that we just picked up in this crazy little room. Small metal shield with protrusions. The protrusions on the center of the shield are designed to brush attacks aside and make parrying easier. That said, it kind of looks like has a similar design to the Mira shield. Hey, if you want me to like explain some of these early FromSoft games, there's a really good LP of Shadow Tower Abyss going on right now, by Allison by Proxy. and you should check it out. Because Dark Souls takes a lot of... You're mean! Come on. Get out. Don't be mean. Come on. She's doing it on YouTube. I'm sure there's a Reddit thing somewhere, but I've been following her Something Awful thread because she's a goon. So I've been reading that thread, so I don't know where else she's posted it. It's on YouTube though. Shadow Tower Abyss is probably one of the bigger precursors to Dark Souls. Very similar. Very similar. Like, I kind of say Dark Souls 1 and 3 kind of lean closer to Shadow Tower, and Dark Souls 2 leans closer to Kingsfield, specifically Kingsfield 4. We pick up some Roog water, which is neat, which I don't think I've read yet out loud. Yeah, like, that's actually, the mirror thing isn't just in Dark Souls. There's an old superstition where your reflection has a mind of its own, and when you're not looking at it, it does things. And it's like a mirror dimension, stuff like that. It's not... I think they're playing upon that. Though known to some as red holy water, not everyone acknowledges its holy status. Yeah. Like, if anything, watch an LP of Kingsfield 4, because I keep saying Kingsfield 4 is very similar to Dark Souls 2. And Shadow Tower is... Shadow Tower is neat. Alright, let's go buy a cat ring. Allison has a specific reason for not putting a voiceover on it. I think it's so that you can hear some of the ambient audio. Of which Shadow Tower Abyss is very, very atmospheric. Also, Shadow Tower Abyss and Kingsfield are where the messages come from, but they're not like player messages, they're all developer messages. Give me the cat ring. I don't feel like killing. Yes, thank you. Let's take a moment and, after I throw some levels on. Speed is going to become an issue. So I'll throw one there, throw one there, and then I'll be almost able to switch out my dagger. Heck, Navlan was killed for resurrecting people. And Sirris at least practices an imitation of the Dark Moon Blade religion, even if she might not really understand what's going on there. Cat Ring. I wanted to read that. Silver ring depicting a leaping feline. Legend has it that when cats grow old, a force brews within them, and they are reborn as something new. It seems to be subtly drawing on some of like the myths about cats and stuff like that, and how they're all kind of duplicitous in some way. I don't think so. They're actually like different, even different species of cat. There's cat. I don't buy it specifically because I don't think it warrants the necessity to like force characters to be specifically linked to other characters. But I think with the themes that we're talking about in Dark Souls 2 of imitations, Shalquar is probably an imitation of Alvina, but not necessarily Alvina. Like, sometimes characters should just be characters, but I think with all of the breadcrumbs about what it means to be an imitation, things imitating other things, reconstructions, yeah, Shalquar is Velka. Actually, if Shalquar is Velka, then that dead hollow that I picked up the divine water from is Guinevere. But yeah, like I tend to err on the side of not trying to specifically link characters or things between them. Thematically, they're very similar, but I don't think I think that's as far as that goes. Right. 4,000. See if I can't bump the red grave reaction. Try hitting her with a dinky dagger, he says. She's like, good luck! Alright, I got the cat ring for really one reason, and that's because I'm too impatient to wait for Gilligan. When I come up with crazy theories, I acknowledge them as crazy theories. They are most certainly not theories that hold water. Still need to get the Chloranthy ring. Oh my god, that was so close, you guys. For reals. I need my bird hat. Hat. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, they're definitely crack theories sometimes. I accept them as crack theories, because sometimes you gotta have a crack theory. By the way, snake, dragon, or alligator? Are you serious? That's so disheartening, Aegon. So disheartening. Possum. This isn't the only time you see this specific rock formation. It's in the Doors of Pharaohs also. It's a rat. It's a very ferocious rat. Possums. Yeah, they really do, kind of. Velka's awesome. Velka, Velka, Velka. This definitely looks like a catacombs, and we get a Whisper of Despair. I'm gonna get to the bonfire before we read that. Oh my gosh. Velka already sounds like a piece of furniture you buy from the IKEA store. Don't equate Tier 2 and Allen Wrench 2. Speaking of crows, that's another FromSoft thing. Ravens, crows, they love having them both. Like the Armored Core mechs are called ravens. Yeah, Whisper of Despair. Should be here. So this is the first hex I've picked up. A hex that releases verbose darkness. Verbose being too many words to say something you could say with not a whole lot of words. And $20 words, too. The darkness echoes words of despair, reducing the defense of opponents. So basically, it erases their will to go on. The dark blankets the world in black, a thing of tranquility, a thing serene, an enforced peace. Is it still peace, or is it just oppression? Yeah, I think they confuse the dark with being oppressed by it, because it saps your will, and it enforces a peace that's somewhat false. I'm not sure if I should attempt Royal Rat Vanguard. I mean, Authority. I always get them confused because they're essentially the same boss. Eh. Let me throw on a... throw that on. Yeah. So what do people think about that? It describes the dark as peaceful and tranquil, but it's a tranquility that is confused with depression, because as dark despair, like, tells us, or Whispers of Despair tells us, it's a dark that's enforced by just erasing your will. The Yorshka Spear does something very similar, and it's called Pacify. Yeah, the only thing about this is I'm not sure how well I'll do, because crowd control is not this build's forte. Otherwise, I'll just throw the cat ring on again and go and just jump it. Okay, well I can run shot on the grate. Ooh? Yeah. One and a half shot. Struggling and fighting is it important to life? Alright, me. And Dark Souls 2 might as well be the more poetic of the bunch. How many rats do you gotta kill before the boss actually shows up? Oh yeah, I was saying yesterday that Aldia is probably my favorite NPC of the bunch because of all of the stuff, all of the lore stuff he adds to the conversation. And like, I think Aldia is super necessary to understand in terms of the Ring City too. Well, it's about time you showed up to the party, Royal Rat Vanguard. Now if you, don't petrify me, please, thank you. Where... is that you? No, it's not you. I see you, but I need to get a lock on. Just reset myself. Why did it do that? Thank you. These guys are like the best Secret Service agents ever. Now get out of here, jerks. That would be great, Aegon, as far as the intro cinematics. Because they've been on point, and the one you posted to Twitter is A++. Yeah, that's right. Get stuck in your entryway. Yeah, I really liked what you posted on Twitter. So welcome to the Rat King. Actually, you know what? They're kind of cute in that undead rat thing. And it used to be theorized, or maybe it still is, by at least Epic Name Bro, that the rats in DS1 were eating human remains. Hence why in Dark Souls 1 they would drop humanity. Which might account for why they got infected with the curse of the undead. Also, we already saw dogs dropping souls of lost undead over in the Lost Bastille, which might also explain why they caught undeath. And up there is a very big skull. Let's talk to him.
Leave this place, human. We have no time for thy kind. Humans bring nothing but filth. Is there a rat tail, human?
Yeah, just because they're munching.
Erst one of mine rat burrows conquered. Rejoice.
Yeah, dead hollow.
Since thou human still.
And maybe it's because of being touched by humanity in that way, because rats and dogs are really close to humans, whereas cats are not, or thought of as not that close to humans. There's been some recent scientific stuff about cats actually really adore their humans, but that's something else. But rats and dogs are probably the closest animals to humans and humanity. So it would make sense that maybe rats and dogs would also be kind of infected by their closeness and proximity to humanity. That's a flat texture, although it's pretty good. Yeah. And being quote-unquote infected by humanity, I make it sound like it's a disease. And that gets back to the earlier question of what is the nature of the soul? Special souls. Uldia and Vendrake peered into the essence of the soul, but the game is never explicit as to what that essence is. No matter the fact that Uldia likes quoting Macbeth a lot. By the way, saints are not just humans. In this game, it remembers our Elizabeth mushroom as a Saint Elizabeth, who is credited with creating dark trotches, which become dark bug pellets in Dark Souls 3. And there's a bleed stone, which actually has some interesting little like culture lore on it. So let's take a look at that real quick. Sorcerers at the Melfian Magic Academy once attempted to imbue Titanite with various elements, but are said to have failed. Someone must have succeeded, though. What else would explain this stone? Well, yeah, Hunter. I mean, obviously. She caught us with our eye looking hither. I'm just gonna... Did I catch you looking hither? Circle jump is best jump! Ashnopal ring. It's a neat ring, but it is a bit of a gimmick ring. petrification resistance, so it's useful for the rats, and it's going to be useful elsewhere. Oh my gosh! Story time about those black phantoms. Let me just show where everybody, if they haven't played Scholar in particular. So, there's a Demon Souls reference in a pair of black phantoms right below me where that skeleton is. And it is a miracle cleric with a Garl Vinland-esque, although the Garl Vinland cosplayer of Dark Souls 2 is always going to be Veldstad, but it's a Garl Vinland-esque bodyguard. I don't remember them being in... Like, New Game Plus is very different in Scholar. And so, for me, I would sit here and I would kill the cleric with a bow and arrow. And then I'll go down and kill the knight. I want to do something for Demon Souls, but I'm not sure what, because I can't stream it yet. I framed. And that's great heal. So it stands to reason that the cleric skeleton is this one. And the Black Phantom will spawn right there and right here. They are annoying because New Game Plus also has the exploding dudes. Although that's not the biggest Demon Souls reference in Dark Souls 2. The bigger Demon Souls reference is the optional boss in the Shulva DLC. Oh boy. This is Critical Path. Yeah. And if the game seeks to cheese you, I'm gonna cheese it right back. There's a lot of really good games on the PS3. I need to get an Elgato. Because I don't think I would mind moving my PS3 to my computer. Because I haven't really used my PS3 for entertainment in a while. Really? Fine. Dinky! Oh, right. I didn't have my dinky thing. Eat Soul Spear! Cyan Knight. So Cyan Knights, at least in Scholar, are always guarding something super important. And this is a Sublime Bone Dust. Moobot. Oh, Moobot. You work so hard. Since I don't sit at a computer, I can't moderate it myself, so Moobot's gonna have to do. Might bump the character limit for that to like 30 or something. Gimme. Basically, there's no patches in this game because you're patches because you're supposed to kill Alicia. people wrote off DS2 as having nothing to do with DS3, but I beg to differ. It's just that DS2's influence on Dark Souls 3 isn't as overt. It doesn't scream in your face that, hey, this is a reference to Dark Souls 2. But I think it's there. I think the themes are important to understand getting into Dark Souls 3. Oh yeah, it's up there. Not really. Fan canon has tried to link the Profane Capital with Dark Souls 2. It just had because it had Laddersmith Gilligan in it. But that's really it. Well, and some people have mentioned that the monstrosities of sin are Dark Souls 2 reference, which is probably true too. But it's not as overt as that. And Albert first appears in Lothric before Vort and the Dancer. Just checking to see if there's something I need to like light up over here before I fall through. I would like to one day light all of the torches. So, okay. Here's a good place to talk about these things. So remember when I said that bonfires are not... They use bones. And they use bones because bones carry bone marrow. And bone marrow is where the red blood cells are created in the body. Which, as we know from the Ring City, fuels the dark soul within a person. These are not just sconces. They are people I've okay, so these sconces are these little poison spitty things. But they have bones inside them, which means they probably had blood. So, was the Rotten actually making golems? Seems that way. It's kind of macabre, too. Dung pie. Let's go light up a bonfire. Peace out. Blood always have been important in Dark Souls. It didn't come out of nowhere when Gale was like, I need blood for the Dark Soul. Yeah, and the spit things, because we can see them really nice over here. They look like statues, but they're probably actually just petrified people recreated by the Rotten to live on in their kind of petrified state. And some of the hollows who live in the gutter have knocked their heads off, exposing the bones within them, and created them as sconces, because bones and marrow, and specifically blood, can keep a flame going. So there's that. see here. What should I do? I'm gonna get 12 decks. Do I have any more? Yeah. I'll keep it though. Bear Seek Lust. That is the topic of the Dark Souls 2 channel on my Discord. Because I'm cheeky like that. The Dark Souls 1 is, when in doubt, Velka did it. And the Dark Souls 3 one is, when in doubt, Sullivan did it. I'm gonna pick up a rapier. That's pretty much it. I need a mace too, but I need more strength for that. Sullivan is fascinating, but he isn't so much a mustache twirling individual. He's a tyrant. And I've written quite extensively about Sullivan. But he's fascinating, but a lot of people, I don't know. I don't know where they're going half the time with it. Oh hey, I have a magic mace.
I'll be around.
I am working on a new essay. I'm trying to figure out how to start it. Alright. Rapier gotten, and I now have an actual weapon instead of a dagger. Okay, cool. Where do I want to go? Yeah, I kind of intimate that in the essay. Oh, that's cool, thank you. I had no idea. Sullivan is fascinating. But he didn't do everything. Okay, so we were in the gutter. We have Seldora open. Oh, right. Let's go meet a sorcerer. In Scholar, they kind of contented the gargoyles. So I don't... In vanilla game, you have to go down here, fight the pursuer who's down there, and then get into Belfry Luna. Which, side note, is interesting. Not so interesting is probably the wrong word. Is kind of good to think about, because if Seath and Gwyn are complete opposites, and Belfry Luna and Belfry Soul, if we believe the lore surrounding them as actually true and not embellished, their opposite was a romance. Could be the romance that's talked about in the Great Heal excerpt in Dark Souls 2. Curious, yeah. To fanfiction.net. I'm sure somebody's written about it. Seath. I like to think about Seath now more after the Ring City. Mostly because of how, if we believe that Shira is his, like, legitimate daughter, what he was doing with... I hear you. it recontextualized what Seath was kind of doing in his madness in Dark Souls 1. He had his channelers kidnapping maidens all over the darn place. Why? And he was experimenting on them. Maybe he was trying to recreate a facsimile of his daughter Shira. Yeah, and Shira left him. Shira went to the Ring City, which is probably as close to a prison as possible, and she probably couldn't see her father again. Here's a cool thing, if I can find where they come in from. Yeah, there we go. Belfry gargoyles. Difference with the whole Gwyn's daughter is Gwyn gave her as a political marriage to the pygmies because he wanted to pretend that he thought of the pygmies as, and maybe because they had a Lord Soul he respected the fact that he had a Lord Soul, but he was still really afraid of the pygmies. But yeah, Filianore is basically a political marriage, with the dowry being the Chloranthy ring plus 3. Alright. Doggos, really? I'm gonna die here. Yeah. Yeah, like it's tragic of Filianore, and partially I think it is the real politic that Gwyn was playing was to blame for all of it. Filianore is given to the pygmies as a sort of political marriage and a symbol of the fact that, yes, you've got a Lord Soul, but I'm still going to imprison you. And she never gets to experience the world. And then you've got Half-Light, who is probably... he probably had a huge crush on Filianore. And I've been thinking that maybe he was turned into a dragon as per the Irish version of Madir. Because the name Madir is an Irish thing from an Irish god, depicting a dude who had the hots for somebody else's wife. Although he turned them into a swan. It makes sense to me because of what Madir's soul yields. It yields the katana, and it yields Old Moonlight. And Old Moonlight's a memory, but the katana Half-Light has, and it kind of fits. So this is where the Wanderer ended up. The Wanderer starting class. Because just like in Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2 has, and 3 too. You can find where all the starting classes ended up. The Wanderer ended up here. Old Moonlight is the only thing I haven't really taken into account with that theory. Besides the fact that it's FromSoft referencing Kingsfield, because Old Moonlight uses the Kingsfield 2 Moonlight Greatsword. There's nothing really in there. And this is just really a shortcut. I saw a theory where it tried to say that Half-Life is Manus, and I don't think so. I think Half-Life is a Lucatiel missionary who just stayed because he was enamored with Filianore. It's tragic nonetheless. Yeah, it's definitely not Manus. I'm sure you guys can't see. I will put on a flame butterfly in just a second. I'm just gonna kill this guy. Plus, there's a cool statue, so... Dang it. Nobody asked you guys to show up here. Yeah, it's the Adjudicator Giant has the ability to pull a person's essence, their phantom at least, or I hesitate to say soul, but it's as close to one as possible. Like the Adjudicator Giant, the Giant pulls Zuli and Jared Leto, the Silver Knight. Who's to say he can't just pull Half-Light, even though Half-Light's body is compromised? Speaking of, we're gonna get the Bone Staff, which looks very similar to Manus's boss weapon from DS1. Parrying Dagger. Twin Blade. Okay, so this guy, he's got a spell scroll or a miracle scroll. He's got a sword, and he's got his he's moving forward. That's like art language for him saying moving forward or something like that. He looks like Socrates, but he's probably a god of some sort. Zuli's got a weird moveset when the Giant summons her in. So, what do you guys think of this guy? Swords, spells, probably. Socrates. I think she does. I think that's what she's using. She's using the weapon art to the frayed blade. And so this is a shortcut back to the first half. There's a lot of gods. Yeah. It's got bone staff and stuff like that. And a dusk herb. This is our first one. A dusk herb in bloom works wonders, but will wilt in the blink of an eye. Needless to say, finding such an herb is of the utmost difficulty. Half-Light actually parried me a couple of times once. I'm like, damn. Parry King over here. Let's open this up. Oh, come on. I always forget. No. Alright. He can, indeed, be a jerk. Please meet one of our other NPCs, the very interesting Straid, who's got a familiar voice actor, but I don't think that means anything. Having fun there? Aldia falls into the tropes of obsession pretty well. So I've already beaten one forlorn with a +0 dagger. You guys saw that, it's on YouTube. And some really useful rings. Which I will buy this one. And he's got stuff. So let's sit down and read them and talk about them. Homing Soul Arrow, one of the sorceries devised by Straid, the great mage of ancient Olaphis, fires soul arrows that follow their targets to the ends of the earth. Yeah, did Homing Soul Arrow originate in Dark Souls 2, or was it a Logan spell in Dark Souls 1? I know he did Crystal Soul Arrows and Homing and Soul Masses, but I don't think he did a Homing Soul Arrow. Strong Magic Shield. Certain members of the Melfian Magic Academy scoff at these types of magic. The purists, in particular, are disdainful of anything vaguely linked to sword fighting. Magic Shield in Dark Souls 1 was sort of linked to Havel-Rock because he did not like magic users. He didn't like magic at all. Cast Light. Super useful in Dark Souls 1. Y'all know where. One of the things I would just buy out of... just and use. It's just that useful. Resplendent Life. We've already read this one, but it is still useful for cultural note. For Saul of Lindelt was a master of miracles who fought battles across the lands. His allies called him a holy knight, but his enemies feared him for his demonic powers. In 2 sentences, well, 2 lines, it shows the difference between when it's working with you or versus whether it's working against you. Oh yeah, I am thinking Magic Barrier. You're right. I did see that in a load screen earlier today, and I wanted to mention that. Unveil. A miracle that senses traitors. Reveals the location of the nearest enemy or invading dark spirit. Side note, the invading dark spirit thing, or even your host, in Dark Souls 3 you get this automatically without having the spell. If you don't know, when you get summoned in, there's a red light. It's kind of easy to miss, but that red light will go straight towards your host. And so you'll have a sort of sense of where your host is. Really useful because after co-oping Bloodborne's Chalice dungeons a lot, I wish that was standard in all of them. Most of the Ulasil sorceries are hexes. I think Castlight might be one of the exceptions. Those who serve the Lindelt Monastery willfully adhere to strict commandments. This miracle is created to castigate those who ignore the righteous teachings. So, it was used for witch hunts. Lingering Flame. Pyromancy is devised by Straid, the great mage of ancient Olaphis. Straid was an oddly gifted mage, well versed in both sorceries and pyromancies, but his curious temperament never allowed him to settle down in one place for very long. Inflamed Seath, which this becomes Profaned Flame. At least they reused the icon. I actually haven't used Flame Seath to know. Straid, always immersed in magic, never accepted an apprentice. As a result, much of his extensive knowledge is permanently lost. Which is a lie, because he's right here. He's, yeah. Dark Orb. In Dark Souls 1, it mentions that humanity has weight. In the Dark Orb description, doesn't really say it here. A hex modified from an old sorcery by Gilea, the father of hexing, fires a heavy orb of darkness, because humanity has weight to it. To use hexes, equip a sacred chime or staff and attune a hex at a bonfire. Required equipment depends on a hex. Gilea. Hexing is rooted in both sorcery and miracles, but is viewed as a perilous affront to all life, and banned in most lands. So why is humanity, because if you know this from Dark Souls 1, why would humanity be an affront to life? Whereas most humans are striving to retain life. Aldia suggests that the life that we want is a lie perpetrated by maybe Gwyn, or by the institution of linking the fire. A hex that releases a temporary localized mist. Those who breathe in the mists are instantly assailed by poison. This hex is regarded as a poison due to the outward symptoms, but in fact the mist eats away at the target's inner essence, just the traits that led to the prohibition of hexing. So Dark Fog is a humanity kind of thing that probably just snuffs out the fire within you. Remember how I was mentioning that I'm mulling over things like the first flame versus the last flame? Which I think I'm going to go with it being humanity being the last flame. That having that snuffed out means an end. And Affinity, which was Pursuers in Dark Souls 1, stays as Affinity in Dark Souls 3. And advanced attacks based on an ancient sorcery creates a dark mass that seems to pursue its target with a will of its own, because humanity sprites want nothing more than to bring you into their family. That's it. They want to consume because they're part and parcel wholly to the humanity flame, or the last flame. It appears to be a manifestation of emotion, perhaps of hate, perhaps of love. Yeah. Dark Souls 1 is very much a unreliable narrator. Ruin Sentinel Soul. I don't really use that. Soul Shower might be useful. I'd have to pull out Najka Soul. It makes a sort of sense that the Ruined Sentinel Soul would be remolded into a homing soul arrow. Although you'd think the Pursuer would be... the Pursuer Soul would do that, but... Najka uses this soul, so that makes sense. Very good. Very good. Very good indeed. Maybe that's because dragons weren't the enemy. And that gets back to a question I've been asking. One of the big philosophical FromSoft questions being, what is a dragon? Well, that was my fault. I thought I was healed. But what is a dragon? Everlasting dragons are everlasting because they have scales, as far as we know. There's a dragon that embodies different locations, maybe? I don't know if that's the right word. We meet the Everlasting Dragon in Ash Lake. Yeah, I'm pretty wrecked. A dragon has scales, but what does that mean in terms of the game? And they live forever because they have scales. But Seath doesn't have scales. Does it make him even any less of a dragon? Does his lacking immortality make him less than a dragon? And then you've got Calamite, who's like patron saint of the abyss. You have Midir, who worked tirelessly to undertake his oath to the detriment of himself. And you have the Everlasting Dragon, the Dragon Covenant in DS1. You have Sin in DS2. like most things, there's more to meets the eye than there more that meets the eye to dragons in regards to souls. We are a race of sinners, after all. The gargoyles are upset. So as far as landmarking is concerned, this big mountain in front of us, it covers the No Man's Wharf areas. You can probably see where Majula is, but you can't really see it from here. It's behind all these buildings. That's that. You know what's annoying in New Game Plus? This upcoming section. Because there's a unique enemy that hangs out with the Flexile Sentry. Leave me alone. Well, bye then. Good job, AI. Lost some kite shield. Like, there's like two of these weird things. And then there's that jerk. Also in New Game Plus, there are two of those big mummy dudes on either side. Like, in New Game Plus, this Sinner's Rise is actually really annoying. And then there's me trying to drag Lucatiel across. So I had to go down, kill everything, go back, find Lucatiel. I went through... You have to go to New Game Double Plus to get Platinum and Scholar. Because... good luck trying to farm Covenant items in a game as old as a Scholar. You can just buy the Covenant items from Wellager in New Game Double Plus. Like, the game just kind of gives up and then allows you to just buy those Covenant items from the ledger. Chaos Bug! Ma'am? Ma'am. Ma'am. Oh. Well. Also New Game Plus, she gets a couple of helpers. It's not a big deal, but it's enough of one. I actually thought it was easier than I thought it would be, because I thought I would have to do the no bonfire, no deaths run, and apparently you don't have to. Yeah, she gets helpers. 2 pyromancers. Flexile Sentry also gets a couple of helpers too. That is our first Lord Soul embraced. Her boss arena is awesome. Like she has all of these handcuffs and all of these things, but she could just, you know, get out of them at any moment. So maybe she was self-imprisoned for her sin of trying to light the fire, because Shelquar has a couple of choice words about her. And she's been writing generally the same thing like a madwoman all over the floor. Of course, you can't really read it because it's in Dark Souls ease. Yeah, Midir. Well, I've been thinking that Midir is actually not a dragon, and he was turned into a dragon, and it's Half-Light who is Midir, which explains his dogged persistence to protect Filianore. Yeah, I like the Lost Sinner, so let's read her soul. The cop-out. Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, because like Irish Midir, the Irish Midir, by the way, the word Midir for Irish, like the Irish deities, is also just another name for Gwyn. Like, Midir is just another name for Gwyn in the Irish pantheon. So, like, why would they name a dragon Midir, which has its links to Gwyn, other than, like, either their zealous connection to Gwyn as their god, or if Midir was never a dragon to begin with and was turned into a dragon to protect Filianore? Yeah, well, she doesn't say he's a descendant. She says that the archdragons were his forebears. That can just mean, and considering how much FromSoft likes to use English against you, forebears... Yeah, forebears is just like people you take after sometimes, the legacy you choose to take. Something to think about, IMO. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I can't wrap my head around it. No death, no bonfire runs for those rings. So you get your fragrant branch of mushroom and a fragrant branch of yore and an Elizabeth mushroom. It's our first one. Especially treated dried mushroom creates a euphoric sensation when ingested and restores a large amount of HP over time. Saint Elizabeth devoted her life to helping the needy by concocting medicine and potions. It's thought her great virtue was matched only by her sublime beauty, but who can say now? Oh, Elizabeth. Hurt. Such a large room for a primal bonfire. And there's like almost nothing in here. But the bones are still there. I wonder if they wanted to say that the primal bonfires were pygmy-fueled bonfires. And they've been around for so long that their coiled sword fell apart from the heat. You write that, but I'm getting there. It's been burning for so long that it just melted in half. Because I observed this earlier, and I've been talking about it a bit during streams, but the bones are the fuel for the bonfire, but not because they're bones, but because bones holds bone marrow, aka blood. And that seems to fuel the dark soul, and it also seems to fuel bits of the first fire that you are linking together. Alright.
You have acquired the soul of an old one.
Yeah, it's the Shellcore dialogue too that makes fun of the lost sinner, I think. Let's go get that. Bones are calcium and also bone marrow. Rock is magic.
Oh. Who are you again? No, I'm not serious. You do have a rather pleasant scent.
That's old.
This place is already dead. Everything will crumble and waste away so that something new may be born. Isn't it wonderful? This place is fascinating. We receive only the most peculiar visitors. Folk like yourself.
And it was mentioned earlier, I think in a bit of item description, that Majula started off as basically Drain Lake's version of the rubbish heap. But people ended up starting to live here.
Are you going to see the old ones? Those four who have grown so incredibly ancient. They must have sprouted quite a thick coat of moss by now. For heaven's sake, no one even knows their names anymore. Imagine that. Yes, nothing like yourself.
Yeah, everything changes.
You have a most pleasant scent.
And it's funny how cats in Dark Souls like change, but try and get a cat in real life to like change. You've got an undertaking. You've got an undertaking to do. Yeah, I mean, it happens to her.
That's dismaying.
I love how the shadow tower that is Drain Lake just hangs off in the distance. So good. So that's one Lord soul down. Let's burn that. Let's see here, what should I... Oh. Should bump my ADP. How far till my next 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jeez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. $20 is fine. 30 is a bit overkill. I think I'm gonna hit 25. 20 is where I go immediately and then I just do something else for a while. But it's time I go to 25. Listen, Dark Souls character sheets are nothing compared to Kingsfield character sheets. What the heck is Spirit? Yeah, and it's 105. I didn't really even use fast roll in Dark Souls 1. Probably go to 25 and that's about it. I'm also not in melee in this this character though. Yeah, I mean, I went to 30 on my platinum character, but I'm not like kind of shrug at it. I have 21 on my Champion's Covenant character. It's alright. Could always use more iframes, but there's always a lot of other things. Okay, whether to next? Seldora or back to the gutter? Let's go to the gutter. The gutter's cool. That's the gutter. It's weird though, because I don't play with a shield. Even my platinum character didn't play with a shield. I just relied on dodging everywhere. And 20 felt fine until I got everything else up. probably should switch my rapier first. Yeah, like, my platinum character used Kite Shield for the stamina regen, and that was it. It went on the back, and stayed there. I mean, I started with Bloodborne, so I was used to, like, not using a shield anyway. So I never got used to using a shield. So... I didn't even use a shield in Dark Souls 1. I two-handed a claymore, and that was that. I blame Bloodborne. Yeah, I don't doubt shields are good. It's just I never got used to them, so it's a playstyle I didn't get used to. Yeah, I love the my actual playstyle is pretty hyper aggressive. I blame Bloodborne. So the no shield, dual wielding swords are so awesome. They are my favorite thing. And my luck build, which I should probably respec at some point. This Dark Pyromancy Flame. My luck build is Warden Twin Blades with Pontiff Right Eye for the extra aggression, I guess. My first Bloodborne run was with a Rider, mained a Rider Palash. So there's that. Good decisions, man. Didn't you settle on Goddard's? Those are good. The Drang Twin Hammers and the Twin Swords. Really cool. Yeah, well, there's Goddard's twin blades, the Karthus twin hammers, ring hammers. Oops. Gravity wins again. One day, gravity will be its own boss. Not today, though. Let's go right-hand way. Melanchia the Butcher is an invasion on this side of the map. The gutter reminds me a lot of 5-1 in Demon Souls. Very vertical, lots of drops. Kind of a maze on the way down. For real though. Yeah, 5-1 value defilement. They're laid out very similarly to the gutter. Yeah, Valley Defilement 5-1. Dragons are magic. Don't listen to Ondor's lies. Ow! Really? Stop that. Run! Doggo's mad. Mad doggo. It is tough kind of trying to figure out why in the world there was so much... Why in the world Gwyn and company went after the dragons to begin with. 'Cause so rude. The heck is that? Wait, did you guys see that butterfly? What is... I got distracted by the butterfly. I've been through here like 6 times. I never even noticed it before. But granted, after the first time on my Antonius, I just ran through here. Yeah, I know about the invisible hollows. I actually theorized that they forgot themselves so much that they forgot even their physical corporeal form, and that hitting them makes them remember a sense of self, at least their body anyway, because of the pain. Oh gosh. Frigid outskirts. Yeah, like a bit like the Irithel. Yeah, I mean, I take pretty much the most direct route through the gutter most of the time. Leave me alone. Yeah, Melindia's on the right-hand side. But she only appears if you go for the Ring of Soul Protection and drop down that way. This is also why I don't think I've been able to do a good job for the Drang Lake Electric Company in the gutter, enough to spawn Zuli. Oh yeah, Friendly Ant is nice. What a nice ant. But it's not here. It's down further. Isn't she, like, the only ant? Whoops, I think I two-handed the wrong weapon. There we go. Alright, hold on. 1 second. Friendly ant! Just gonna sit here. There'll always be more. I think it repairs. I'm just watching bars real quick. Yeah, I killed that tree. I was like, what is this tree? And I killed it. Whoops. When in doubt, kill it. Oh, they're fine. Poison arrows. Yeah, the mist does something friendly, but I forget exactly what. Bonfire. Somebody made this camp. You've got meat hanging, you've got food and stuff. Could have been Lucatiel, because we do meet her downstairs. You know, we play this on a rock. Actually, the Dark Souls game lives on a rock. I mean, it's a rock we flatten down and trick to think, but it's a rock. Well, it's summertime. The age of barbecues and stuff, so... it's not the side. Oh, come now. I wanted to use the ladder. The ladder's mine. Poison throwing knives for days. Go the other way. Nope. Still got a lantern. Yeah. Human ash is a different color from normal ash. It is white. Yeah. The thing about the whole deep that I've pulled into question about the deep and how truly relevant it is to the world is the fact that it is in a dreg heap. That's dark fog. The literal and figurative end of the world where things that are no longer needed come and hang out. Basically, like Majula. So, I wonder whether the deep is even needed anymore? I do love that the sound for breaking these vases are like a bowling ball hitting pins. It kind of takes me out of it, you guys. Let's get into the Rave Cave. Rave Cave. Well, it does work. It just breaks all their equipment. Rave Cave. I don't care too much for you. Yeah, it's a very... Aldrich is the prophet. It's a very Lorethrough thing. Although its themes probably have... This is too early to roll off. Maybe not? Oh, I thought the animation for turning around would have killed me. Hi, Lucatiel. This should be number 3.
Still on the road. Sorry to have burdened you so. This is for you, by way of an apology.
Just do it!
I found my thoughts growing hazy. My memories are fading, oldest first. Curse is doing its work upon me. I am frightened. Terribly so. If everything should fade, what will be left of me? I had an older brother. We learned to fence together. He became the most decorated swordsman in all of Mirror. I never even compared to him. In fact, I never beat him. Not once. But then, one day, he was gone. Lost without a trace. Now I was certain that he was taken by the curse.
I don't think the pilgrims have very much to do with the deep. They have very much something else to do with the angels and the insectoid beings that they're like trying to keep under wraps with their turtle thing, but even after a while the turtle thing gets broken open. And I kind of think the Pus of Man is a plague bestowed upon Lothric especially. Yeah, Lothric especially, because they lost the Mandate of Fire. Because they violated the rules, at least Prince Lothric and Lorien have, as Lords of Cinder and signers of a contract they probably didn't exactly read or know about. And the fire showed its displeasure by bestowing upon it a plague. Because we get to Lothric at the end of their cycle. And ends of cycle for the Mandate of Heaven are populated by like natural disasters and plague and famine and stuff like that. Isn't that actually just Abyssal, the Abyss Lake? It's like Abyss Swamp. Because it's swallowing up the Ring City's illusion just like it did Lucatiel. I'm right here, Lucatiel. I will hear your tale. There's a sorcery right in that jug, and I kind of want it. Oh, the Abaddon? I like the Abaddon. No, I want the sorcery. Because it's useful. Fern Gully. Wait. I'm gonna die. Okay. Breaker branch. Ah, dang it, Fern Gully. I really love the design of the locusts, or the Abaddon. And I call them Abaddon not just because they are called Abaddon in the game files, but because they look exactly like Old Testament Book of Revelations Abaddon. So they earn the name to me. No. I want to get... Dang it! Just wanted to get to the bonfire. Keep going, little hollow man. Keep going, you can do it. I still need to see Alien Covenant. I want to see Alien Covenant. Da 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 da. Wait, what? What? How did you die, Ferngully? It infects two specific worms, and I suspect those are Prince and Lothric and Lorien's worms, especially. Partially as a symbol of the symbol of Lothric is rotted from the inside out. The symbol of Lothric being their worship of dragons. And would suspect that the fire has a sense of humor, infecting them. We picked up scraps of life, so let's take a look at that real quick. Down here. An esoteric spell created by Navlan, the infamous exiled sorcerer, awakens the souls of the long-buried dead. This, I think we've already read with Cromwell, but let's recap. The heretic Navlan was executed along with his entire village, which is a lie, because he's still alive in Aldia's Keep, and the mere utterance of his name became a crime. Some say it was because he sought to restore the banned art of resurrection. I have an animated GIF of the insectoid thing that the stone turtle shell is trying to keep in. I will dig that up somewhere. Because Share Factory has a very useful and easy now way of making animated GIFs. Now, I really like how the Rave Cave is environmentally, but it's such a pain in the butt. And then those bones over there, they look like a dragon bone. Yeah, cicadas. Dang it. It's the rotten. Remember when I mentioned that these look to be sort of his golems? Like, each of these little statue things look to be alive. Or faking life. Yeah, I don't mind. Fern Gully died. Victor's... I have gotten a couple of seeds on my Champion Covenant character, because it's, I'm not playing with that character. I held down the circle button for some reason. I was early on that click. I have a couple of seeds on my Champions guy, because I got it from that bonfire next door to where you first meet Armorer Dennis. And so I got that seed. Actually, great sword, heavy sword. Great heavy soul. Also, I don't need this anymore. State protection. I didn't even hit the circle button there. Nito had knives come up from the ground. He had an AoE, but I always kind of hung out behind Nito, so I never saw it really. He does have the Death Soul. And note, I kind of think he's been trying to keep his friends' lives kind of going, but in these statue... in this, like, false life kind of thing. All these statues are probably people, and he's probably trying to keep them kind of alive or present. I'm not sure if alive would ever be the right word for these guys, but present. I still think Agdane is awesome, and I wish there was more that was done with him. Alright, I'm gonna touch the bonfire, and I'll be back for that thing. And again, Dark Souls is a meditation on greed. And part of that greed isn't just material greed, it's the easiest thing to comprehend, but that greed to be alive. The greed to breathe another day, to feel the warmth of the sun. So the gods, I would expect, were very afraid of someone like Nito, who can manipulate death, who can take away that life that someone might have, because greed suggests or mandates that you want to stay alive. And if you destroy death, or if you destroy Nito, then you have that ability to manipulate what it means to be like alive and or dead. Can't stop me. Rave. It was at one point, according to ENB, going to be called Dark Race. So humanity is dark. We were never of light to begin with. Wow, is it really 3 hours already? But I've been working on the theory that light isn't just the light of the first flame, and that the first flame and the last flame, which is the fire of humanity, which is the dark, because it burns just as much as a fire would, except it burns away your will to fight, maybe. That the fires of humanity and the fire of dark, and Dark Souls 3 tries to make cold into its own fire. See, also you could probably burn if it was cold enough into a thing, but it kind of falls flat a little bit. But there's more than just one flame. I mean, if it was just one flame, it would probably be called the flame, not just the first flame. When you're talking about a first flame, there's got to be a second and a final flame, and I think the final flame is humanity. So all souls are fire. But where they come from might be different. Oh gosh. It's 2 Lord Souls down. Yeah, because the Dark Soul is the Humanity Soul. It is the Humanity Fire. Which is where I get the term Last Flame, because I coined it. Humanity is the last flame, whereas the first flame is the first flame.
The soul, your soul, has grown stronger still. I only hope it brings you what you wish.
What do we wish? I don't know. Let's see here. We have 4 slots. 25 would be my next one, so that's not... 4 slots is probably plenty. At least for now, anyway. And I think these are the themes that are explored a lot with DS2 as an extension of what was set down by DS1 and are looped around to its conclusion with DS3. Hubris, greed, desperation from that greed, birds on shoulders. These are the things I think really make DS2 and 3 super good. Mostly because I like stories about people and what those people do in circumstances set down, rather than just the circumstances themselves. So, we have 2 Lord Souls. Before we call it a night, I know I haven't read them, so let's do that. Lost Sinner and the Rotten. The Lost Sinner eternally punishes herself for the sins of her past. Use the special soul of the Lost Sinner to acquire numerous souls, or to create something of great worth. Yeah. The Rotten embraces all in his sanctuary for all things unwanted or tossed away, of which, even with Majula was a place people tossed things away. And even from Majula, people threw things down the well into the gutter. Use the special soul of the Rotten to acquire numerous souls or to create something of great worth. Alright. Basically, the gutter was its own painted world to begin with. I mean, getting to the gutter requires, if you're like at 1,000 HP or something, you need to get the cat ring, otherwise you will just die. And there's no real way back up. It's a one-way trip, for the most part. I mean, your character is able to come back up because you are linked to the flame as sort of an agent of that flame, and you use that power to go between bonfires, but if you're thrown down there, there's no coming back up if you're a normal dude. So, the Rotten embraced everything that came down there, because who else was going to do it? Alright, okay, so 3 hours is probably where I'm going to stop for tonight, because when I get around to, time-stamping, this will take a while. So, is there any other, like, observations? Anything else anybody wanted to say or talk about before we called it a night? Anybody want to call me crazy? That's crazy, Theo. That isn't like that. Yeah, Hunter M. Get a Medium account, seriously. Write them down. Crack theories are fun, especially when the person knows they're probably crack theories, but... Medium is long-form article kind of publication. It's not like a blog, really. It's just, it's meant for writing long-form. Medium.com. It's where I stick all my essays, because I had it sitting around because Twitter kind of has a partnership with them. They don't own it. So I had an invite to Medium when it first opened, but I never had anything to write on it, and then I did. So that's where everything is. It's like one big editorial website. Write some editorials, publish them yourself. There are publications that live on Medium, and it can get really complicated. You can make basically a webzine on Medium. But yeah, as far as bugs, because I know Aegon tagged me in one of his tweets today about bugs, about Dorothy's gnawing, and I did have this to say, that Dory's gnawing causes bleed. Bleed is linked to luck, which is a human trait and scales with hollowing. And that is a specifically human trait. And I don't think we should overlook that at all. The second thing is, Dory's gnawing is a miracle, so it might not actually be bugs, but a simulacra of bugs. Of something that Dory's probably saw and then wrote down and codified and made it into a miracle. Yeah, bleed and poison scale off of luck, and luck is a specifically human trait, and that's something even Demon Souls states pretty much outright. With the Blue Blood Sword and Demon Souls, luck is a human trait, period. And Henri's straight sword is blue in reference to that Blue Blood Sword, and it's like, luck is a human trait. Dang it. And so, yeah, like, bugs are from the deep and they cause bleeding. And it's probably because, like we saw earlier with the rats and the dogs being in close proximity with humans, and humanity infects you with that same curse of undeath because you're so close. Rats eat humans, they get that humanity and they become undead. Dogs, same thing. They eat people and they get humanity and they also suffer a sort of undeath. The bugs of the deep are spoken about as once a peaceful whatever, but once humans got to them, that closeness to humanity infected them with the curse of humanity, and the road to hell is paved in good intentions, but we are the dark race, a race of sinners, and the dark soul consumes just as surely as the first flame consumes, and they both are in a race to consume as much as much as possible. And the end game for either flame, for any flame, even the extreme cold, is the world to ash. So, I'm not sure how much that answers the question, but that's some of the stuff I've been thinking about, even before stream today. Well, ash is fertile in real life, but the ashen waste that is the end of the world is like white ash, which is humans, really. It needs work, I know. World of Grey. But, you know, I've just been spitballing. So, it's kind of what I've been thinking about today. Nice! So keep a lookout for Aegon's video. This is going to go straight to YouTube, and I'll eventually timestamp it, probably starting tomorrow. I don't like having a whole lot of things waiting for timestamps. Yeah. I can always make a locked party, and you can just join in that, and we can chat. For everybody. But yeah, either tomorrow or the next day, one of those. We've got two more Lord Souls to kick. As always, it's been fun. I need to get an emote, because the emotes are the best thing about Dark Souls 2. Yeah! Emotes. Thanks everybody for joining me. I'll see you guys later. Have a great night, everyone.